don't want to concede. Draper! What about the Draper hanger? This man can do it all.
Brilliant balance from Isaac Rankin. What he can create is so exciting for the future.
Bonner, it's followed him all afternoon, and he drives that home with a monster.
Hello, I'm Damian Barrett. Welcome to Access All Areas, and we are here, as always, thanks to Crypto.com. The bye rounds are behind us, and round 15, the next round of football, Matthew Lloyd, presents as season-defining.
It does. It shapes up as one of the most important rounds I can remember in recent times. With look at some of these games: Melbourne v Brisbane on the Thursday night, Carlton Freo, Geelong, Richmond and Sydney St Kilda. But for me, I cannot wait to see, after a break, what Melbourne do. They've lost 3 in a row. I'm going to back them in the win Thursday night. I'm confident they can respond, but I can't wait to see what they produce.
We'll touch on the specifics of what's going to go on in that game later in the show, but there's no Max Gawn, but there is Stephen May in that game.
Yeah, and big job for Luke Jackson, which we'll talk about. What are you most looking forward to?
Look, it's the Geelong-Richmond game.
Yeah.
I still think they are both up to their eyeballs with premiership possibilities this year, and that may not be what everyone else thinks, Lordo, but we'll get to know which of those two is best placed after round 15. One team that came out of round 14 really nicely, seized its opportunity, was the Gold Coast Suns. Now, they lost some players on the run and will be without them now for some time. But the way they managed to stay firm for the entire game against the Crows yesterday, Lorda, just again, more signs of maturity from this club.
Yeah, you can trust them. You can just trust them week in and week out, which we've never said about the Gold Coast Suns. What pickups Casbolt and Scholl have been. Another 6 goals between them yesterday, and then Rankin, 17 disposals, 3 goals. Ainsworth, 3 goals, 20 disposals. It's all off the back of hard work and pressure. They're all getting involved more, Damo. It's just brilliant to see.
I loved Ainsworth's game, Lordo. I felt he was there at the start and there at the end. Now, this historically is shaping as the Suns' best season. We can see what happened in 2014. That 8-5 scoreline was on the back of Gary Ablett putting together another amazing season. He went down about this time in that season. They missed finals. There's something different about what they're doing this year. They've been through adversity and they're still hanging in.
Oh, absolutely outstanding. I think with the draw they've still got West Coast, they've still got North Melbourne. They can really challenge to play top 8 footy this year and make it. I just want to ask you, there's a bit of talk about Stewie Dew. Are you hearing that a signature's going to come soon?
Look, he's tracking the right way. Yeah. I still am of the view that let's play the season out and let's see what happens in the remaining 9 matches, and let's see what happens if they are lucky enough to get to the finals. I do see him being there, but I don't see any mad rush or need to rush and get that signature. He's not going anywhere.
No, I was just hearing talk. It could have been coming very soon. So we'll see. I hope it does for him.
Yep. Now, Aaron Norton, Lordo, for the Western Bulldogs, 5 goals on the weekend. We highlighted how to bring him down via the work of Sam Collins some weeks ago. Sam Taylor wasn't capable in this game for the Giants.
No, we just wanted to highlight that he got his positioning wrong. So players normally play Aaron from in front and don't allow him to run and jump. So Sam Taylor's trying to put body contact on him, but he's from behind. He's get behind Norton, big man, pushes him in front too quick. So I think Taylor will learn from this next time around that you've got to take front position. Jacob Wiedering will plant his legs, Collins plant their legs and push into him from the front. Collins played him from behind, and you can't give Norton this run and jump. Here's another one. It was Himmelberg at this point. Just you can't play him from behind, and he was on fire, Norton. When Norton kicks 2 or more, they win. He kicked 5 the other night, and they got the result.
And that's how he wants the ball brought in, isn't it?
Exactly
with
right.
That, Jamal Ugle-Hagan, Lord, I didn't have a big impact in the 125-point scoreline of the Western Bulldogs. Josh Bruce got through a VFL game for his first game since the knee reconstruction requirements last year. I've got the view that Jamal Ugle-Hagan should just stay in the team now because, to me, he is a point of difference in that forward line.
I like him too, but I think he's got one more week. And I think Josh Bruce will have another one in the seconds. But Jamara has to do more. Like the Dogs kicked 20 goals and Jamara kicked 1. Didn't quite do enough considering how much ball, how free-flowing it was. So I think Bruce is going to come back in. I think he's the one who'll go
That's
out.
when it goes out.
Well, Shaki played as well, but I like what Shaki did as well. So there's probably fighting for that last spot.
They find themselves outside the 8. They often find a way to grind through these moments and periods in a season, the Bulldogs. Are you worried, though, in the big picture?
I am worried. I just don't think they've got the consistency of other sides. You know, I think Collingwood's form is better than them. I think there's just that St Kilda spot that everyone's fighting for, but I have Collingwood in the box seat to take that over the Dogs at the moment.
Yep. The Crypto.com brave play of the week, Lord, goes to Cody Waitman here. Horrifically dislocated that elbow when he fell here, and within moments was being treated for it. You can see the pain that he's in there, and within moments was back out on the ground, and not just taking a spot in the 18, but doing things like this, I mean, the courage required here to lay this tackle with that left arm at that moment, and you can see it produced a moment of panic for the Giants. It takes some doing.
Oh, it was amazing, and the respect he would be earning from his teammates, the football world, his coaches, absolutely brilliant. He's been under a lot of pressure for a guy like Jack Ginnivan, for young men, been under a lot of pressure for flopping and staging at times, but the respect he earned last Saturday night was amazing.
Hopefully, for his sake, the conversation just moves on to that aspect of his game, because he's an extraordinary talent. Lordo, the big boys at Geelong, Jeremy Cameron and Tom Hawkins, they play with such fairness, don't they, and sharing, and they want to share. They want each other to be the best on the ground, and that takes some doing. You look at what happens to this point of 2022, and their names are very prominent on the list of score involvement leaders.
Well, this leader board should be reserved for midfielders. You can see it's Petrarca, Bolton, Canelio, Dunkley, and you've got two powerhouse forwards who kick goals, setting up more than midfielders across the competition. I think this is their point of difference. I think they'll be around the mark preliminary final again. I don't have them as a premiership contender, but these two are the point of difference. Like, good luck trying to stop them. So it's on their midfield. If their midfield can get enough ball into them, you can't keep them down.
It's what they wanted in 2021, but Cameron just couldn't shake the hamstring injuries, could he? And ultimately played matches but was underdone. There's no problem in that space this year, and he's primed right now.
It's a good point. I think he's in the prime of his career. Those hammies are long gone, and in terms of reoccurring of them, and I don't think you can stop him. And there's one match up this week that I'm really looking forward to.
We'll get to that in a minute. Before we do, just take another look too, Lloyd, and please tell our viewers how important Stengel has been in this Cats forward line as well.
Really important. Some will say he's the recruit of the season, Tyson Stengel. So he's kicked 26 goals for the year, applies pressure, and full credit to the culture at Geelong, isn't it? That a lot of clubs probably wouldn't have taken Tyson Stengel, and he's had his issues at other clubs, at the Adelaide Crows, but at Geelong he's just been impeccable. He's just head down, bum up, getting the job done. Eddie Bett's been a huge influence on him at Geelong. OK,
Saturday afternoon, MCG, 4:30, twilight start to the game. The two Geelong guys go to the full forward line, Lordo, Cameron and Hawkins. Richmond is moving their defenders down back. Who takes who?
So I think they've got the perfect matchup for Jeremy Cameron, because Dylan Grimes can play tall, he can play small, and that's what you need on Cameron, because his running ability and his ability to mark. But Tom Hawkins, Noah Bolter is out injured with that hamstring, and Robbie Tarrant is a real concern for mine. I think if they had more depth, he wouldn't be playing. I think he's really lacking off the mark. So his age is showing this year, and Harry Mackay you look at that, they start together, and within moments and seconds, he's already got a metre or two on him. So
Mackay has done that to other players, though, Lord.
He has,
in his defence.
But I saw this from Robbie in round one.
Yeah.
So Robbie has been hanging on since then. He's got a huge job. Hawkins will push off him hard. Robbie's got to think about his positioning, because, as I said, his leg speed is really hurting him. 33
now, and 16 years after he was drafted. And Josh Gibcus not quite up to one of those roles just yet.
No, you'd be throwing him to the Wolves if you put him on one of those two.
It's been a different season for the Tigers. They were slow to start, and that can often happen with an ageing superstar team. But there's shades of 2020 in certain passages of play, Lordo, and that being the third year of their three flags.
What I love about it, you just see here, they get numbers back behind the ball. So you see guys like Baker, he could be a forward at that point, but you see Bolton, he's a half forward. But then you see the run, the overlap, and you'll see Pickett gets involved soon, but that one's over the top where they roll all their numbers back.
And it's created that space.
It does. So their work rates are that big that they can throw numbers back behind the ball, but they're never outnumbered forward of centre. So again, they're outnumbered at times. Rioli's up high, Bolton's up high, but that's just the pressure they create. Doherty loses his feet, Rioli then over the top. Unselfish, Edwards, he's pushed back as well. He's now involved. So it's a high energy work rate that Hardwick demands of them. But they get the job done week after week.
And it's high maintenance to defend against, isn't it? Because of the unknown nature of it. It's not structured, and the running requirements to just stay with those players at that point in time, it causes haywire.
I've had assistant coaches say to me, we've tried sitting back and waiting for them, but they hurt you too much further afield. And we've tried going up with them, but they get you on the way back. So coaches don't know what to do against that tactic.
So you still have some doubts about Geelong. Do you have doubts about Richmond winning it?
I have doubts about them winning it, but I thought they were no chance at all.
Yeah, okay.
For most of the
so
year.
They've impressed you?
Yeah, they've impressed me greatly,
yep.
yeah.
As has Todd Marshall impressed everyone, Lordo. 27 goals for the year, 4 of those 27 against the Sydney Swans for Port Adelaide on the weekend just gone. And it's been the massive bonus out of the unavailability until recently of Charlie Dixon.
And it started off their pressure, so we wanted to highlight that Charlie Dixon tackle. And just on him, Todd Marshall, he's played 68 games now. He kicked 24 goals from 21 games last year. Now he's 27 from 13. So it just shows how much he's evolving, improving. But I thought Port's pressure was outstanding. This was their best win of the season, franked any other win previous. And here's the next 5 games, Damo. What a big game that is. I think whoever loses, season over for Gold Coast and Port Adelaide, and then Fremantle. So I think being 0-5 at the start of the year has cost them as well as they're going now. I don't think they played finals, Port Adelaide.
Now got the 7 and 6 scoreline. Lotto, the Swans have stayed in the 8 after round 14, but that was not a good performance. And their forward line, which has worked well at times, didn't on the weekend with Buddy Franklin returning.
They've got big decisions to make, John Longmire, and goes, do we go with the 3? Obviously, McDonald, Reid and Franklin, or do we just go with the 2? And there's some decisions he's got to make.
It'd be Reid, wouldn't it, who comes out of that mix?
Yeah, most likely, I would have thought, yeah.
Yep. The Saints were really sloppy, weren't they, Lordo, on Friday night against Essendon? Had done a lot right this year, but they let themselves down and have now left them in a very vulnerable position as teams are coming beneath them and around them.
Watch this one live, and they were off right from the start. So I thought Gresham, he was their best player, but he was also too cute at times. He didn't pick the right option. There was players here, they were fumbly, they were nervous. Ratton spoke after the game. It was a big emotional game, Spud's game, and Nathan Burke spoke so well before the game, but they were just right off. I just wonder whether they thought this was just going to happen for them, and Essendon took it to them and were the best side by far. That was as disappointing a performance as you could have asked for from St Kilda. Really, really poor. They've got to wake up right now because it's a tough run coming, and they'll miss the 8 playing, what I saw based on that.
When their most recent form line it was as bad as that, it's hard to see where they're going to score goals. They've clearly got to focus, and rightly so, on Max King up forward, but the reliance on him is not getting the results they want. Now, when you see that, Mordo, and that's the targeting component to that Saints forward line, is that overemphasised? The amount of times they're going to one man?
That is really, really unhealthy.
Right.
But some will say, it's Maxi King's fault. But Max wants to be a champion. He wants to be the best, so he commands the ball. I'm putting it on number 2, Tim Membry. I'm putting it on number 4 there, Rowan Marshall. I don't think they're demanding the ball enough. They go in search of kicks. Membry goes in search of kicks too far up the ground. He's got to stay more at home, and that might be a tactical thing. So I think Brett Ratton needs to say, no, we need you staying around Max King. You need to demand the ball. You're capable of kicking 40 goals.
In his defence, he sent him back early, Lordo, in this game, didn't he? When it was not going well for them early. He was playing as the loose back in the
behind the ball,
Yeah.
and I thought that was a
negative.
Yeah, a negative to do it so early in the game. I think you can't ask any more of Ryder at his age. I think it's Marshall and Membry who have to stand up. Demand more of their opponents because you can sag off them at the moment. They're not really a presence, those two in the forward 50. They had their moments the other night, but give him a chop out. Give him a chop out by asking other defenders to worry about more than just Max King.
Well, as we speak, Collingwood Footy Club is dealing with the Jordan De Goey situation. We don't know if he's going to miss a game of footy by way of the sanctioning that I expect to come his way for his behaviour, his poor behaviour in Bali. My view on it is that while there is a lot to be questioned about and that there should be a form of sanctioning, a serious form of sanctioning, that he shouldn't miss a game of footy and that he should be playing for Collingwood against GWS on the weekend. Do you have the same view on that?
I just think they'll just be really disappointed in him. So I think he gets to play. I don't know what the sanction could possibly be, but you just be really disappointed that they're going so well and it's just not what they need. It's not what Craig McRae needs as a young coach. You put trust in your player to go over, relax, come back really fresh, but they've got to deal with this today. It's just not what they wanted. So what sort of sanction could it be?
Look, again, education will be part of it, I'd imagine, but that hasn't worked for him. I mean, he's 8 seasons in, he's 26 years of age, and to still find himself in these situations for effectively the second time he's been overseas in a row, finding himself the subject of a social media video. There's a consent component to what the actions, Lordo, which have been signed off on by a woman in question, but just because she says she's okay with it doesn't mean that Collingwood will be or should be okay with it, because this is what it gets down to. That's the core of the whole debate that is unfolding as we speak. And we'll get a resolution of sorts today on it, and the AFL will be looking at Collingwood as to how they handle it.
And Craig McRae might ask himself, do I want this headache for another few more years? Do we sign Jordan, or is it now the time to move him on and get someone else into the club, maybe a 21, 22-year-old who would give us more at that money, and we could trust him more off-field? So that might be also a decision for Collingwood.
Yeah, just on the footy side of it, I mean, his best is extraordinarily good. The back end of 2018, start of 2019, it was competition best, but he's only once finished top 4 in the best and fairest in the 8 seasons he's been in there, and that's obviously taken in his first season as a 2015 debutant.
He's capable of far more, but I think the lifestyle decisions hurt him,
Yep. Now, Luke Jackson, Lordo, 42 matches of football are beside his name. 41 of them have been with the great Max Gawn as his assistant in the ruck. He doesn't have that luxury against Brisbane on Thursday night.
He's still a young man, but he's off at the moment. He's not playing as well as they would like, Melbourne, and now he gets the chance to be the number 1 ruckman with I think I'd love to see Wiedemann come in and be the support act to him as that mobile ruckman. So wonderful young player. Every club would love to have him, but I think Oscar McInerney would be licking his lips saying, I'm going to go after this bloke. I'm going to go after this bloke on Thursday night and see if I can... I'm not up against Gawn, I'm up against Luke Jackson. So I think that's going to be one of the matchups that defines the game on Thursday night.
And there's so many moments and matches and results that will define this season. And for all the build-up to round 15 and the latest on Jordan De Goey. Stay with the AFL Live app and afl.com.au. Thank you as always, Lordo. We'll be back next week with the wrap-up of the round 15 action on Access All Areas.